Yeah, students, how are you all? This is Anita ma'am. Then today we are going to discuss about RMI, and this is the last topic in fifth unit. So RMI stands for Remote Method Invocation. Okay. So this Java RMI system allows an object running in one Java virtual machine to invoke the methods on an object running in another Java virtual machine. So already in the first unit we discussed about JVM. That means it stands for Java Virtual Machines. That means it is used to convert the objects from one system to another system. So then basically this RMI is used to build distributed applications. That means with the help of these distributed applications, then we can provide the remote communication between the Java programs and all. Okay. So then already you know that we have one topic in our Java language, that is packages. So if you want to use any new technique in Java language, first we have to give the package name. So for RMI also we are using java.rmi. Okay, now then next one is here we have some differences between the RPC and RMA. Okay, so as you know that RMA stands for remote method invocation and all. Okay, so here this RPC is also one kind of language. Okay, so basically RMA is useful to share the objects between the clients and the server, and RPC is also one of the language which is useful to allow the calling of the procedure on a remote control and all. Okay, so here we have the differences between RPC and RMI and all. So you know that Java is one of the purely object-oriented programming language. So RMI is part of Java language. So that's why this RMI is also object-oriented programming language. But RPC is the procedural-oriented language, like C language. Okay, no? Then next one is here. This RMI allows the objects to be passed as arguments and the return values. So we know that Java is one kind of the purely object-oriented programming language, and every technique is surrounds with an objects and all. So here using this RMA also we can pass the objects as arguments and their return values also. Okay, but coming to the RPC, it supports the only primitive data types. So what are the primitive data types? As per Java language, we have two different types of data types. One is primitive and so second one is non-primitive data types. So now tell me what are the primitive data types, like integer, character, float, double, all are the primitive data types and all. So RPC supports only primitive data types and all. Okay, then RMI program is very easy to write than RPC program. Okay, so I mean using RMI and RPC we can design the code in Java language. Okay, but if we compare these two topics, so RMI is program is very easy than the RPC program and all. Okay, but one advantage of RPC is it is faster than RMI and all. Okay, so I mean comparatively RMI is comparatively RPC it is little bit slower. Okay, so these are the differences between the RMI and RPC also. Okay, and then next one is why do we prefer RMI over RPC? So if you see the syllabus also, we have the topic of RMI. Okay, we don't have RPC and all. Okay, so why? Because if you compare these two topics, RMI is giving more advantages to the users and the beginners of Java programmers also. Okay, so those advantages are the implementation of RMI is very easy and it is flexible to the user. Okay, why? Because it supports objects and at the same time it is used to pass the objects also. Okay, so if you pass the objects from one class to another class, okay, so it is very easier to the programmer and all. Okay, the next advantage is here RMI is the object oriented design support. Okay, so object oriented design support means here I mean, you know that if you want to create a class, I mean, sorry, if you want to create an object in Java language, first thing is you have to create the class. Okay, then only it is possible to create the objects in Java language and all. Okay, so using this RMA also, we can create the objects in both the side of client and the server and all. Okay, Then so here we have the architecture of an RMI application and all. Okay, so in RMI application we have the two different programs. One is server program and second one is client program. Okay, so you know that every computer system is following the client and server architecture. Yes or no? Okay, so that means as a client we have to send the request to the server. Okay, so at the same time server has to pass the response to the client and all. Okay, so this is common phenomena of client and server architecture in the computer part and all. Okay, so in RMI application also we have these two types of programs. One is client program and second one is server program and all. Okay, so this server program resides on the server side and this client program resides on the client side and all. Okay, so remember that point. Client program is resides on the client side and server program is resides on the server side. Okay, so then so as a client, okay, so as a client what we can do? So simply we can pass the request to the server and all. Yes, sir. Okay, so similarly here also in RMA application also using client program we can pass the request the remote objects on the server and all. Sir. Okay, so that means we are passing request in the form of remote objects to the server and all. Okay, so that is the responsibility of the client program. Then coming to the server program, it is used to accept the particular request of the client program sender. Okay, then next one is here we have the diagram of the RMI application and all. So here in RMI application we have the, anyway you know that, then we have the client side program and second one is server side program. Okay, so if you see this diagram we are using transportation layer, transport layer. Okay, so in network connections, I mean, we are combining two different things using the network and all. Okay, so those two different things are client and the server here. Okay, so if you see here, stub and skeleton we have. Okay, that means here in the client side stub is there and in the server side skeleton is there. Okay, so these two are the objects and all in both the sides. Okay, so then coming to the client side stub. Okay, so stub means it is an object. Okay, now stub means it is an object and it acts as the gateway for the client side. Okay, so that means client stub is an object and it acts as a gateway of the client side and all. Okay, so that means all the outgoing requests. Okay, all the outgoing requests are routed through this. Okay, so I mean as a client program we have to send the request to the server. Okay, so all the outgoing requests are routed in the stub side and all. Understood? Okay, that's why it resides at the client side and represents the remote objects and all. Okay, now then coming to the second side, here we have the skeleton. Okay, so this skeleton is located in the server side application and all. Okay, so this skeleton is an object and it acts as a gateway for the server side object. Okay, so stub is located in client system and it acts as the gateway of the client side and all. Okay, then coming to the skeleton side, this skeleton is also an object. It acts as the gateway of the server side sorry, server side objects and all. Okay, so all the incoming requests, okay, all the incoming requests are routed through it. Understood? Okay, so here what stub is doing, it is routed all the outgoing requests. Okay, so but what skeleton is doing, it is used to routed all the incoming request group. That means here skeleton is nothing but it is just like the receiver. Okay, then stub is nothing but it is just like the sender and all. Understood? Okay, then okay, so whatever the components are there in the previous diagram, here we have, so those are transport layer, stub, skeleton and RRL and all. Okay, so here transport layer is useful to connect the client and the server and all. Okay, so if you see this diagram, so two different parts we have. One is client side and second one is server side and all. Okay, so how these two parts are connected means with the help of the transport layer and all. Understood? Okay, then next one is stub here. Okay, so already I told that a stub is the proxy of the remote object at client side. Okay, so that means here it is used to resides in the client system and it acts as the gateway for the client program and all. At the same time it provides the remote objects at client side and all. Okay, then coming to the skeleton, it is also the object which resides on the server side, and this stub communicates with the skeleton to pass the request to the remote objects and all. Okay, so just like the receiver and server communication is there between the stub and the skeleton. Okay, then last one is RRL. Okay, so here if you see the diagram also, we have one virtual communication is established between the RRL and all. Okay, so this RRL stands for remote reference layer. So with this layer, then we can manage the references made by the client to the remote objects and all. Okay, no? So that means here as a client, we are passing different types of requests to whom? To the server or skeleton. Okay, so those requests are managed by the RRL and all. Understood? Okay, no? So in this diagram, transportation layer will be useful to provide the communication between the client and the server, and this RRL will be useful to provide the references between the objects, and this stub and skeleton. Okay, stub is used to send the request to the server and skeleton is to pass the send the response to the client and all. Okay, that. So how to work on RMI application and all. Okay, so in the previous slides we discussed about the what is the RMI architecture and what are the components are there and all. Okay, so here before that you should know two different types of things, two different meanings of the terms and all. One is marshalling and second one is unmarshalling and all. Okay, so here marshalling means I mean these two are, I mean first time, I think first time you are seeing these two terms. Okay, so here marshals means, okay, so marshals means here as a client. Okay, so as a client we are sending request to the server and all, right? Okay, so marshalling means here it is used to writes and transmits the parameters to the remote virtual machine and all. Okay, no? So that means what is the meaning of marshal here? It is used to writes and transmits the parameter. That means if you want to send any request to the server, okay, so at the same time what it can do is it is used to write and it is used to transmit the parameters, whatever you are included in your request error. Okay, understood? Okay, then coming to the unmarshalling. Okay, coming to the unmarshalling. So this unmarshalling will be done by the server side and all. Okay, so what is the meaning of this unmarshalling term is it reads the return value or exceptions. Okay, now so already you know that what is meant by exception and all. Okay, so what is exception and what are the types and what are the different exceptionality techniques in Java we have. Okay, all those things you know and all. Okay, now so here unmarshalling means it reads the return value or exceptions also. Okay, so these are the, I mean this is the meaning of marshalling and unmarshalling and all. Okay, now the next one is here. Okay, before this one, again through this diagram, we are explaining about the what is client and what is server and what is RMI registry and all. Okay, so till now you know that what is the meaning of the client and what is the meaning of the server and all. You know, so here in between these two components, I mean in between the server and the client, this RMI registry is one kind of the mediator. Okay, no? So that means as a client, okay, so we can invoke the methods using the object setup. Okay, no? But using server, what the server is doing, it is used to bind the objects in the registry. Okay, so here after that, once the objects are binds in the registry, okay, then what it is doing means here it is used to fetches the objects from the registry. Okay, so here if you want to fetch the object from registry to client, or if you want to binds the object from RMA registry to server, here we have two different object names and all. Those are rebind and lookup. Okay, so if you want to fetch the object from RMA registry to client, then you can use the lookup option. Okay, so if you want to bind the object from RMA registry to server, then you can use the rebind method and all. Okay, then so here we have the different advantages or goals of the RMA application and all. Okay, so here the main advantages or goals are it is used to minimize the complexity of the application and to preserve the type safety and distributed garbage collection and minimize the difference between working with local and remote objects and all. Okay, then this part is very important. Okay, so why? Because we have three different types of components in RMA and all. Okay, so those are, first one is RMA server, second one is RMA client, and third one is RMA registry and all. Okay, so these three components we have seen in the previous diagram also. Okay, so with the help of the client we can invoke the object, and with the help of the RMA server we can bind the object. Then with the help of RMA registry we can purchase the object from the registry using lookup method and all. Okay, then here we have the diagram. So it shows the how the RMA component is passing the messages from the client to server, and how it is stored in the RMA register, and what are the methods we are using, etc., etc. Okay, now then so here also, then each and every part we are explaining. First one is RMA server. So RMA server is it contains the objects whose methods are to be called remotely, and at the same time it creates the remote objects and applies the references to these objects in the registry and all. Okay, then coming to the RMA client, it is used to get the references of one or more remote objects from registry with the help of the object name and all. Okay, so help of the object name means here we are creating objects here, no? So that's why every object is containing one object name and all. Okay, so based on the object name only, then we can identify the which type of objects and what type of objects are passing from the client to server and server to client also. Okay, then so third part is RMA registry. Okay, so RMA registry purpose is when the client call the method on this object. Okay, so it is not directly called, but it called by the reference which is already set in the registry. Okay, so you know the meaning of call by reference and call by values and all. Okay, so call by reference means with the help of the address value of the objects, then RMA registry will identify the objects which are located in the client side and the server side also. You know, then next one is here we have the different types of packages names and all. Okay, so already I told that then in Java language we have we have one of the topic like packages. So if you want to use any new technique, okay, then that program is containing any one of the package name and all. So here also for RMA application, we have to maintain these 5 types of RMA package names and all. Okay, that. The next one is, suppose if you want to design the Java RMA application. Okay, now if you want to design the Java RMA application, you have to follow, I mean, as a Java programmer or as a Java user, you have to follow these 6 types of steps and all. Okay, so first one is here define remote interface. Okay, so totally we have 6 types of steps. Understood? Okay, so I mean define the remote interface or create the remote interface, both are same. Okay, so here using this first part, using the define interface method and all. So what you can do is, I mean what the user is doing is here, the client application needs only 2 files. Okay, no? So client application needs only two files. Those are remote interface and the client application. Okay, so that means in the RMI application, both client and server interacts with the remote interface. Okay, then the client application invokes the method on the proxy object. Then RMI sends the request to the remote JVM. Okay, JVM means here Java virtual machine and all. Okay, so with the help of JVM, then we can pass the arguments and all. Okay, no? So that is the first part here. That means here, if you want to design RMI application, first thing is you have to create an interface. Okay, so that interface should extend the predefined interface remote, which belongs to the packages setup. Okay, no? Then next part is here. We have a small example how we are using different packages names. Okay, then here you know how to define the classes using extends keyword and all. Okay, so using extends keyword, here we are creating two different classes. One is superclass and one is subclass. So from where to where you are deriving properties means here. So remote is the superclass and hello is the subclass. Understood? From the superclass to subclass, we are deriving the properties. Okay. Then next one is here. Second step is developing the implementation class. Okay. So developing implementation class means nothing but you are creating a remote object and all. Okay. So in this step, what you have to do is here, you have to either extend the unicast remote object class or use the export object method of the unicast remote object class and all. Okay, understood. Okay, so that means in case you extend the unicast remote object class, then you must define a constructor that declares the remote object and all. Understood? Okay, so here second part is you have to implement the class. So if you want to implement the class, then the remote interface created in the previous step. Okay, so then after that you have to develop the class using the remote object setup. Okay, that is the second step. The third one is developing the server program and all. Okay, so developing the server program means here. Till now, first two parts were creating classes and the objects and all from the client side. Okay. Now you are developing the server side and all, server program and all. Okay. So if you want to develop the server program, first thing is you have to create the stub and skeleton objects using the RMIC tool and all. Okay. So after that, you have to create the stub and skeleton objects using the RMI compiler. Understood? Okay. So RMI compiler is RMIC space add a remote object you have to use here. Okay. So here if you see the screen, java.rmi.server is there, then java.rmi.registry is there. Okay. So these two are the packages names if you want to develop a program from the server side and all. Okay. So if you want to use these two different types of package names, then you have to use the different methods also. One is export object and second one is get registry and all. So using these methods, then we can pass the data from the client to server and all. Okay. Then next one is developing the client program and all. Okay. So then in this, if you want to develop the client program, first thing is you have to create a class from where you are intended to invoke the remote object. That means here you have to create the class first. Then after that, you have to inherit the objects from that particular class and all. Understood? So here also we are taking the help of the RMA registry. So if you want to use RMA registry in your program, either in client side or server side, you have to use the package name that is java.rma.registry. Okay. Then method name is get registry you have to use here. Understood? Okay. So with the help of this java.rmi.registry package name and get registry, then this method of the this method will be useful and it gives the status of the object and to which class it belongs to. Understood? Okay, no? So we can easily find out the status of the object setup. Then So like this, we have the different types of steps and all. And then after that, after creating client application and after creating a server application with the help of the RMA registry, the next part is we have to compile and run the application and all. Okay. So at the client, we are getting the stub object by the lookup method of the naming class and invoking the methods on the object and all. So in the above example, we are running the server and client applications in the same machine. Okay. So same machine, but we are using the local host and all. So if you want to access the remote object from another machine, then what you have to do is you have to change the local host to the host name. That means IP address where the remote object is located and all. Okay. So here I'm giving one simple example program, that is factoring of a number using RMI in Java language and all. Okay. So here also whatever the steps we discussed in the previous, the previous slides, we are following all the steps. So first one is we have to start the process, and next one is we have to create the RMA application, and then we have to provide the interface file and implementation file, and after that we have to design the client side program and server side program with the help of the RMA registry and all. Then we have to use the stub and skeleton objects to provide the, to pass the data between the client and the server. Then after that, we have to start the RMA registry, then run the server and the client file separately. Okay. So, we have to run the files in two different ways. One is from server side and one is from client side. Okay. Then after that, we'll get the output of the program. And last one is we can terminate the process also. So here, this is the program, factorial of a program using RMA application from the client side. Then after that, we are providing interface. Second part is interface program. The next one is implementation program. So then after that, it is the server side program. Okay. So then after that, after writing the program separately in client side and server side, then you have to execute the process like this. Okay. So you know that we have the different commands for the compilation and execution also. Okay, so here also same commands used. For compilation, java c space file name dot java, and for execution, java space file name and all. Okay, no? So with the help of that, we'll get the output of the program and all. Okay, so designing and getting output of the RMA application is quite different than other programs what you did in Java language and all. Okay, so there you develop the standalone applications, no, but here you have to design the program separately. One is from client side and second one is from server side and all. Okay, so then after that we have to provide the interface between those two programs with the help of the RMI registry and all. Okay, then after that you have to execute the programs separately and all with the normal commands. Okay, so then only you get the output of the program and all. Okay, understood, children? Okay, then thank you.
In English, no.